Why does evil exist in a world created by an all-loving, all-powerful being? This is the crux of what philosophers call the problem of evil, a profound paradox that has been a hotbed of debate for centuries. It's a question that emerges from the intersection of faith and logic, a conundrum that challenges the very core of religious and philosophical ideologies. Imagine a world designed by a deity who is omnipotent, capable of doing anything, and omnibenevolent, infinitely good and loving. Now, introduce evil into this world: pain, suffering, injustice. The existence of these malevolent elements seems to contradict the idea of such a deity, doesn't it? It's like trying to square a circle, a puzzle that has stumped thinkers from every corner of the globe. So, how do we reconcile this? How do we make sense of the seeming contradiction between a benevolent, powerful deity and the presence of evil in the world? Stay tuned as we delve into various philosophical theories to unravel this intricate mystery. Imagine a world where you have no choice but to do good. Would that truly be a good world? Now let's dive into the free will defense. This philosophical theory asserts that evil exists because God gave humans free will. You might be wondering why? Why would an all-loving God allow evil to exist? Well, the free will defense proposes an answer to this conundrum. It argues that a world with free will is better than a world without, even if it means the potential for evil exists. Picture this: a world where every action, every thought, every decision is preordained. There's no room for moral growth or personal development because there's no choice. Sounds pretty dull, doesn't it? On the flip side, a world with free will is dynamic, evolving, and full of potential. Yes, it opens the door to evil, but it also allows for genuine goodness and love. It's a world where people can choose to be kind, to help others, to create beautiful things. And it's these choices, the ones made freely, that truly define us as moral beings. The free will defense also suggests a profound respect for human autonomy from a divine perspective. It posits that God, in his infinite wisdom, chose to create beings capable of making their own choices, rather than automatons programmed to do good. Now, this doesn't mean that evil is to be celebrated, far from it. But it does mean that the existence of evil doesn't necessarily contradict the existence of a benevolent, omnipotent God. It's a fascinating perspective, isn't it? It forces us to look at evil not as a divine failing, but as a side effect of the precious gift of free will. And yes, it's a theory that doesn't solve all the problems or answer all the questions about the existence of evil. But it certainly provides a compelling lens through which to view this age-old issue. So, according to this theory, evil is a byproduct of our freedom to choose. What if suffering and evil serve a greater purpose? This question marks the gateway into an interesting philosophical landscape known as the soul-making theodicy. This viewpoint suggests that evil and suffering in the world are not just random, senseless occurrences. Rather, they play a critical role in shaping us spiritually and morally. Imagine a world without pain, without suffering, without evil. It might seem like a paradise at first glance, but would we, as individuals, be able to develop virtues like courage, patience, or empathy in such a world? Could we learn compassion without witnessing suffering, or develop resilience without facing adversity? The soul-making theodicy says, no. It posits that hardships are not only inevitable, but necessary for our moral development and the evolution of our souls. This theory is akin to the process of refining gold. Just as gold is purified through intense heat, our character is refined through the furnace of suffering. The trials we face act as a crucible, burning away our impurities and revealing our true essence. It's important to note that this theodicy doesn't glorify suffering or justify evil. Instead, it provides a different lens through which to view these difficult aspects of life. It suggests that these experiences, as painful as they may be, can lead to a profound transformation of the self. This perspective also reframes our understanding of God's role. Rather than seeing God as a distant observer, the soul-making theodicy portrays God as a divine craftsman, meticulously shaping our souls through the trials we encounter. However, like any philosophical perspective, the soul-making theodicy has its critics. Some argue that it doesn't address the severity and distribution of suffering in the world. Others question whether the development of virtues truly justifies the existence of evil. Despite these critiques, the soul-making theodicy remains a compelling perspective that challenges us to find meaning in our struggles. This theory paints a picture of a world where evil acts as a catalyst for spiritual growth. So, whether we agree with it or not, It's an intriguing lens through which to examine the enigma of evil and suffering. We have journeyed through philosophical landscapes, now let's reflect on what we've learned. Together, we've ventured into the depths of the free will defense and the soul-making theodicy, both complex theories that attempt to unravel the enigma of evil's existence in a world governed by an all-loving, all-powerful deity. Let's rewind a bit. We started with the free will defense, a theory that places the origin of evil in the hands of humanity. It suggests that God, in his infinite wisdom and benevolence, gifted us with free will, the ability to choose between right and wrong. The existence of evil, therefore, is not a flaw in God's creation, but rather a consequence of our misuse of this divine gift. It's a powerful concept that encourages us to take responsibility for the evil we see around us, rather than attributing it to a higher power. From there, we shifted gears to the soul-making theodicy. This theory takes a different approach, viewing evil not as a byproduct of free will, but as a necessary tool for spiritual growth. It posits that suffering and hardship are not punishments, but rather divine instruments designed to shape and refine our souls. Evil in this perspective is a catalyst for personal growth and moral development, a crucible that tempers the soul and brings forth its true potential. These theories, as we've seen, offer different perspectives on the same issue, each with its own unique insights and implications. They challenge us to rethink our understanding of evil, to consider it not as an undeniable proof of God's absence or indifference, but as a facet of a grander divine plan, a plan that is perhaps beyond our human comprehension. So while the existence of evil may seem paradoxical, in a world created by an omnipotent, omnibenevolent deity, philosophical theories provide us with intriguing perspectives to ponder upon. Remember, every question doesn't have an absolute answer, but the pursuit of understanding is what enriches our intellectual journey.